Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Audio troubles fit. Ooh. Sorry, am I breaking your ears there? Are the audio troubles fit? Okay. Audio troubles fixed. Thumbs up. Okay. So, brief recap here. So what I'm working on is porting some code from Golang to Node.js. And this is pretty simple because JavaScript and Go are a perfect pairing. Not the TypeScript type of JavaScript that people are fond of writing these days, but just normal, plain Jane JavaScript, very relevant or very similar. So what I'm going to go through is GitHub has this new token format that uses Base62 rather than Base64. I'll go ahead and link you to this post. So if you want to read all about it, you can. But I'm just going to give you the gist of it is that with Base62, you get almost as much entropy as Base64, but you eliminate the underscore and the slash. No, what is it? And the hyphen? No. You eliminate the hyphen. But basically, it's this. This is the thing. If I double click to select some text, it'll be separated by hyphens, but it won't be separated by underscores. And I think there was one other character like that they get rid of. And so that's kind of the neat thing is you can have a prefix for what the token type is, an underscore, and then the random text, and then it's selectable. And that's just kind of the little bitty cool thing about the Base62, and that's why I'm implementing it. I found a bunch of implementations in JavaScript that do integers, but not ones that will do arbitrary arrays or buffers. And so that is what my concern is here, is that I can do that. So I found some Go code, and I've already started working on it in the last session. So this is part 2. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to create a repository. I didn't do that before, and I started setting this up, and I thought, I'll just finish setting it up on the stream. Welcome to those of you that are joining in. I'm happy to have you. I'm AJ O'Neill. This is me coding live and hanging out. And I will go ahead. What do you mean TypeScript? I've never heard of that term, but I'm an undergrad in computer science. So TypeScript is... Microsoft has a bunch of people on the board of JavaScript, and they're trying to change the language into essentially C# script, and their intermediary for that is called TypeScript. So that's the short of it. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it's a separate language, but it can be compiled to JavaScript, and on the face of it, it looks like JavaScript, and some of the tooling works with JavaScript. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and create a repository for this. I'm going to call it base62.js, and I'm going to choose a license. We're going to put this under the Moz. This is the license I recommend. If you don't know anything about licenses, I recommend that you use the Mozilla license, because if you're not familiar with what ISC and MIT and Apache mean, or what GPL mean, if you're not familiar with the legal terminology of those, the Mozilla public license is the one that makes things open source, but also won't come back to bite you in the butt like some of the other licenses will. And it also isn't scary, and it won't drive people away like the GPL will. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and create this repository. I'm not going to do anything with it yet except for link it in the chat, and then we'll eventually put some code here. So Tech says, TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript that has some extra features of object-oriented programming. I'm going to contradict you. TypeScript is not a superset of JavaScript. It is a completely different language that happens to look like JavaScript. It's marketed as a superset of JavaScript, but it isn't. Because a superset of JavaScript would encompass it. So if you take a superset of a subset, it's not the same. So kind of a technicality, but it's an important distinction. It is not compatible with JavaScript. At least not, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but on the marquee, yeah, it says it's a superset of JavaScript, but it's not that simple. But also you don't need any of the JavaScript is already object oriented. Again, this is not necessarily, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but JavaScript is already completely, fully object-oriented. It is more object-oriented than languages such as Java and C#. the types of things that TypeScript brings makes JavaScript less object-oriented and makes it more class-oriented. So, and it also depends on who you're taking your definition of object-oriented from. If you're taking it from Alan Kay, then TypeScript is far less object-oriented than JavaScript. If you're taking your definition of object-oriented from Sun Microsystems and Microsoft, then what they mean class-oriented languages. But again, you know. Okay, so that all aside. So I've already converted a bunch of this code. So you'll see I just added some JS doc to it to kind of retain the information that was already there with the Go code. But if we look at the Go code side by side with the code that I'm working on right now, I've already converted part of it. And so I'm at the point where I'm just going to test it to see if it will actually work. So basically all we did was change func to function, move enc on the left. So enc.next equals function. You know, I'll show you this right here. There it is. Enc.next equals function. And we don't actually need to put that like that because we already have the name over here. So we don't have to name it again over there. We can, but it's not necessary. I actually am going to put that there just for funsies for the moment. And then what else we got? Yeah, and then we just added parentheses around all the if statements and changed. We don't need to cast things to bytes because bytes and numbers are the same thing in JavaScript. Strings, bytes, and numbers are all interchangeable in a sort of way. And then we changed some of the declarations to lets. And yeah, it's a pretty straightforward port. Most everything's the same. Now, there was one problem that I'm going to run into before I run this code that I need to fix, which is that this had an append. And in Go, append is not the same as push, because in Go, and I'm gonna look this up and see if we have some sort of feature like this in JavaScript. But in Go, when you have a buffer, the buffer has a capacity, meaning how much memory it's currently taking up. And then it has a length, which is how much of the capacity is used. So you have a buffer that is, say, 256 bytes, but only 16 bytes of the buffer are currently being used. And in JavaScript with uint8 arrays, which are the equivalent of a buffer, I don't think we have that capability. So I'm going to look into that, and we're gonna learn that together. So uint8 array, and I may just switch this. I have this, I said switch this to an array. I need to figure out if I need to switch it to an array or not. I think not. The reason being the destination is going to be of an arbitrary size. So for example, this could be, it's not the way that I'm going to use it. The way that I'm going to use it, I probably could and maybe should use an array rather than a uint8 array. But in terms of an encoder, and if it was Base64 encoding, it's an arbitrary size. It could be a 1.5 megabyte JPEG image, right? I think that this is really only going to be used with strings, and so maybe I should just optimize it for being used with strings. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to say that this is optimized for tokens, because I don't know if you were, say, for example, you're transmitting something in JSON, or you're transmitting if it's something large, I don't think that that's what Base62 is suited for. Base64 is better suited for that. Base62 is really just suited for tokens as far as I'm aware. And tokens are relatively short. So I think I'm going to look up this information because I'm personally interested to know. But I've already convinced myself that switching it to an array is the right thing to do. Let's see, bytes per elements. That's going to be 1. That's just let's see, from, of. Interesting. With a variable number of arguments. Okay, got it. Instance properties. This is the buffer. Byte offset from the start of its. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. That's not really helpful. It's kind of implementation detail. So basically, this is saying that a uint8 array might be 16 bytes, and the underlying buffer, array buffer it belongs to, might be 256 bytes. So this is kind of like what I was saying, but not exactly, because I don't know if we have a way to grow this. Copy of sequence of array elements within the array. Every fill, no, that's not it. Filter, find index for each, includes index of, join keys. I'm just looking for something here that looks like So we can get a subarray, but we don't have a way to grow the array. I'm just gonna Google this. By Google, I mean Brave search. Grow uint8 array. I don't think there's a way to do it. Yeah, resize array buffer. One of those powerful features, resizable typed array. Okay, JavaScript typed arrays, resizable array buffer. So that's in proposal. Memory.prototype.grow. Let's just take a look and see what people say here. Fixed length. Yeah, you can't. Well, fixed length doesn't mean that you can't grow it, because even in Go, buffers are a fixed length, but then you can grow them, and so it is fixed length. You get a new instance. Basically, you get a new pointer in Go, a new reference to the buffer, but most of the time it's actually the same buffer because the memory ends up being contiguous anyway. Hey, what's up, Johannes? Thanks for joining in. By the way, so some of the people on Twitch is kind of I think maybe a tighter community than what YouTube is, and they're all in on, hey, let's get everybody on Twitch. And I'm not against that. So if you want to join in on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/coolaj86. Oh, okay. What are you looking for is the set method. After creating a new larger array, simply call the set function and copy over the old content. Okay, so we don't have something that'll do that automatically. And in Go, we have append. And append will do both operations. So append will grow the byte length from, say, 16 bytes to 17 bytes to 18 bytes. But then also, when it reaches the full capacity of 256 bytes, append will then usually double that out to 512 bytes, and so on and so forth. How did you learn all this stuff, man? Well, Tamil, I have been doing it for many, many years. So I did get a good jump start in college. I started learning before college, but it was a little bit difficult. When I got in college, I really started meeting with the right people. So class was important because it was a jump start, but it was really meeting with other people and getting connected with people that were just way smarter than I was through meetups. So I now run some meetups, but see if you've got something like meetup.com in your area. You might even have meetup.com in your area. But I would say check that out and just go to presentations. Also, creedsofcraftsmanship.com. So I'll just put that in there again as well. I put this in every single session. But this is what I've curated, places to learn from people who are the best of the best. Okay, so new buffer, new uint8 array, new buffer dot set old buffer. Okay. Interesting. All right. So I'm not going to worry with this, though. I'm going to say this implementation. So I'm just going to put in here to do switch to uint8 array for an implementation that is, what should we say? For an implementation that is more friendly to arbitrarily sized. No, you know what? Do I want to do it? Okay, now just note. Here we go. Note. Use uint8 array to be friendly to arbitrarily sized data. All right, here note. This implementation is intended for Base62 tokens. You'd want to use uint8 array if you need data of arbitrary length. There we go. That's good. All right, so we are going to say that DST is actually just an array, not a uint8 array. Or I think we can say array like. Yeah, we'll just say array. That's fine. The uint8 array makes sense for the Inktable. Let me see. I actually don't really care whether YouTube or Twitch. I watch your VODs on YouTube, but on Twitch I can contribute to the viewer counter. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And you, Tamil, you're welcome for the link. Tamil, where are you from? By the way, everybody, I'd love to know where you're from, what brings you to the channel tonight, especially those of you that are new. And those of you that are old too. It's nice to know what brings you, what keeps you coming back. Why didn't you get bored yet? Okay. The Inktable. Where is the Inktable coming from? This looks more private-ish. Inktable. That doesn't look right to me. Inktable. I think I know what Inktable is supposed to be. Let me go back over here and look at the original Inktable. Where is encode used? Because here's the thing. There's an uppercase encode. So in Go, if something is public, it starts with an uppercase character. If it is intended to be private, it's a lowercase character. So encode starts with lowercase. So I think what we have is an encode function, that creates a new encoder and then calls the little encode function. And then this is called encode, but this is not a good name. I actually want to do a PR on this code just to make it easier to read, because this really is the char set. And I don't know why this is... So in JavaScript, you can index into an array. In Go, you can index into a slice. Basically, this is the same as calling .slice0 in JavaScript. It's saying make a copy. So this is just kind of a... I don't know if I like this particular syntax, but it's saying make a copy, but I don't quite understand why we'd want to make a copy here, because maybe it's because we're getting a slice and this is, hold on, this might be, yes, that's why. Okay, so this is a fixed size. I understand why now. It's a fixed size, and so this is a copy on write slice, meaning that in Go, this isn't actually making a copy, it's just returning a reference. Because when something is a fixed size, it is actually a true array, as opposed to a slice, which is one of those things that can grow in capacity and such. So Johannes is from Bavaria, Germany. That's cool. Chicago, for God. And let's see, do I do front end? I do a little bit of front end, but no, I am back end primarily. So I work in Go, Node, and JavaScript. But I am very familiar with the browser and lots of methodologies of this framework. By the way, let's take a break real quick to have a word from our sponsor, but not really our sponsor, Mr. Mountain Dew. Pop top, my friends, because it is time to open focus. Except my fingernails aren't working today. I can do it. And if Pepsi ever wants to sponsor me for drinking Mountain Dew, just send all the Mountain Dew I can drink at my door. I'll drink it. I'll drink it on camera for you. This comes from a friend. Shout out to Will. He bought me a Mountain Dew today for giving him a lift. Okay. So I understand why that would be coming through here. But again, I don't really care about this being something that works for everything. So eventually I'm going to want to get rid of this. But first I want to get it to a point where I can test it. And where is the dictionary builder, by the way? I would expect to see some ABC here somewhere. Doesn't actually have that. I'm guessing that his is generic-ish. Let's see. How do we... I don't think he says anything in here. Huh. I don't see anything in here about the alphabet that's used. but someone else did tell, well, I think on Wikipedia. Let me go check Wikipedia. I know we're getting too many tabs here open right now. Wikipedia Base62. I think it's the same. Well, we could look at Base64. But I thought there was specifically something on Base62. Oh, yeah, there is. Oh, that's kind of weird that didn't get brought up first. All right, so here we are. I think this is the normal lexicographical Base62. Let's see, it goes from 0 to capital A to lowercase a to Z at the end. All right, so this is basically what we want. I don't really care too much about... We're going to have a little function down here at the bottom. Sorry, I'm jumping around. I need to close out some tabs and do some other things. We're going to have a require.main. We're going to get rid of this later, but I'm just putting this in here for now. Equals module. This is our alphabet, so I'm going to call it charset equal. We could call it charset or alphabet or whatever. And then we're going to do what? Base62.new, create encoder, I think is what I called it. Or do we have a create encoding? Hold on, create encoding. Okay, so let encoding. This is a little bit much, but we're going to trim this. We're going to trim the fat on this. First, I need to port it, get it working, then we'll trim the fat and make it feel JavaScripty and make it single use, because I don't believe that I think that the use case for Base62 is pretty well defined. I don't think we need to allow any alphabet and this, that, and the other, or at least we can have reasonable defaults, let's say. Okay, so there is, we want to create an encoding. All right, create encoder. All right, source. Oh, bless me. And then, do we have an encode here? We just have a baby encode. We need our big encode. Where's that at? Encode with a capital E right here. Okay, so I need to bring this in to. I'm gonna move this down. I'm gonna move this down. Sorry, I'm jumping around because some of this code I've already created. Let me make this bigger too. I don't know why I've got it so small. Let's be able to look at more of this at a time. All right, so we got the baby encode. So I'm going to rename this to underscore encode. Let's see. Because that's how we do it in JavaScript, is we typically rename it to be with an underscore. So we're going to do that. Okay, so, and then we have encoding. Okay, this is a little bit weird to me. So this actually does not belong here. I'm going to get rid of this from here. Let me go bring this back around to create encoding. Yeah, I don't like the name of this stuff at all. I am going to make a pull request on this to the Go code and see if he accepts it. Just because it doesn't feel right. All right, encode equals. So let's get rid of all of this, and I'll check the comments in just a second. All right. Yeah, so that's encode, and then source. Again, let's do the little bit of JS doc here. And we're going to do at param uint8 array instead of byte, and then source, that's fine. And then returns uint8 array. That's right. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this. Feel free to ask me questions. We're hanging out in live coding, so we can take it slow. I like to code fast, but we can slow down and new uint8 array 0. I think this is the appropriate way to do that. Okay, and then here let dst equals, and then we don't want to make 9/5. Okay, so this would be new uint8 array. Okay, maybe I can do this. So this make is basically, this is the whole thing I was talking about. It's making a byte array that starts using 0 bytes, but has a length of this times 9/5. So of the source times 9/5. So it could be less than that in total, but it can't be more than that in total. Let's see if we can do... I prefer to do this. This makes me feel more comfortable. I know we should all be really good about reading that kind of stuff, but I just... new encoder. So this would be base62.create encoder, source encoder.encode, inc.encode, and this would actually just be slice 0. So I'm trying to port it 1-to-1 right now, and then we'll clean it up and make it more JavaScripty later. Okay, so inc. So this actually would be E in this case. No, encoder.encode. Yeah, whoops, E. That's E. So I don't like that either. So I think this should be D for dictionary or C for char set. Anyway, let me take a look at comments here. Oh, we got a ton of comments. Have I had any issues with the M1? Well, wait. Oh, gosh, there's a whole ton of comments. Let me scroll back here. Sorry. Watching your content because I'm a current data analyst trying to transition into software engineering. Okay, well, I definitely do some hardcore stuff. I mean, and this is not, your average everyday kind of thing. So feel free to ask any questions that you want. And you'll notice some of my other, especially if I'm starting out a new project, it starts out a lot lighter. And, if you can bear to watch all 20, 30 hours of a project, you can kind of get a little bit more out of it, maybe. I started learning Node.js and you were doing a Stripe implementation. Yes, so I am actually still going to finish that. We got another session of that coming up. Most of the things are doing, I don't have any clue. Now I'm only learning. All right, well, again. Remote place in India. Okay, yeah, Tamil I thought was Indian, but I wasn't sure. Selvan doesn't sound Indian to me, but Tamil sounds Indian. Mostly back end, some technical front end, what I call it. Yeah, exactly. Technical front end, sure. Not the fluffy CSS type stuff, but yeah. And of course Vue, because all people that are back end people like Vue. All the front end people are doing React, but all the back end people are doing Vue or Svelte. Do I have any issues with the M1? No. Well, yes, I do, but not. It's mostly with displays. All of my issues with the M1 have been with monitor setup, and I've finally got that all sorted out. Okay, Tech is from Bangladesh. I decided to get one. I work with Oracle and works with Android programming. Does Docker suck in M1? I don't know. I have not actually tried Docker on the M1. I imagine that it might a little bit. I'm not sure. But I think that Docker must run the x64 mode for most things. From what I know, Docker should work fine on M1, but I don't have any experience. Right. Java 8 is not installed natively on M1 as well. I don't do anything about Java. I decided to migrate from Lenovo to M1. This is a big step for me. Yeah, that could be, that's going to have some speed bumps for you. But I think you're going to really enjoy the trackpad. That's what sold me on a Mac. What sold me on a Mac has been, because I used to run Linux on the Mac at first, and I switched over to running Mac OS on the Mac because the drivers are just better. But it's the screen, it's the colors, it's the responsiveness. Those are the things that brought me to Mac, and Tim Cook hasn't completely destroyed it yet to be worse than the competitors. So, and this last one is good. I am absolutely in love with my M1 Macs. Okay, that out of the way. Let's take another sip of Focus here. Yes, a sip of Focus. Where was I? I don't know how I got up this far. All right, let me go back down here. So this looks right mostly. So this is a little bit weird. We're creating an encoding, and we're encoding with an encoding. That seems a little bit off to me, but we're going to run with it for now. Yes. Okay, I remember my problem here. Array dot. All right, this is something I never would do, except in this particular scenario, I want to create an array of a certain size. No, I don't. I really don't. Let me backpedal on this. Okay, first of all, I need to figure out that 9/5 is exact or an estimate, because that does make a difference. But let's go with this for now. Yeah, we're going to do... So for right now, what we're doing is we're just going to have an empty array, and we're going to fill it up from the source. Chars encode. And that's actually not the right way to go about this either. So let's... I think I just do array.from. And also here, I don't think I do new. I think it's just uint8array.from. Really, I don't need to do any of that. Just chars.split is correct for this case. Okay, and there's the decode map. I don't know, how's it building the decode map? Let me take a look at this again. Okay, it's building up a map. See, we can do all this beforehand because we're just going to be using this for Base62. So we don't, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so my question is, if I just run this on some data, is it going to work? So let's say that I do new text encoder. What is it, .encode, I think? Or maybe I just do let encoder equals, let's call it t-encoder. T-encoder? Text? Text inc? I don't know. I think I can just do this in one go anyway. Let buff equals new text encoder dot encode. And then let's just put hello world in here. And technically we should be able to put some Unicode. Let's put some Unicode. Can the Unicode please stand up? All right, there we go. Boom. So we should be able to encode this. So let's do encoding.encode buff. And then let Base62, I'm just calling it B62 equals, and then let's do console.info B62. So if we get lucky, this runs, because I've pretty much just ported everything over. So we have, let's see, node Base62. All right, did not work. I think I know why. Is this one it? Okay, that's correct. What is this upset about? Encode. This is correct, right? All right, let me take a look here. Return encoder._encode cannot read properties undefined. I probably didn't return something correctly. Whoops, let me go back in there. Create encoder. Did I actually return the encoder? I did not. Let's go ahead and return the encoder here. That will probably solve that problem. And checking comments again. Let's see. Working on Node.js Cheerio web scripting, but set interval making unpredictable behavior. Okay, if you're using set timeout or set interval, you are probably doing it wrong. Send me a gist of what you're trying to do. I might be able to bring that up and give you some feedback. Let's see, I have 60-second interval, but give me output so frequently after first few intervals. So what you might be doing is, are you perhaps setting the interval over and over again? So you're compounding, so you're doing too much, and then you're doing too much, and then you're doing too much. or you're calling something, you're not actually waiting for the interval to go up. Okay, let's try this. All right, still upset. Why is it upset? Encode.slice. So let's see what this is about. E.encode. These are, so first of all, yeah, I really need bless me. Okay. Chars.split. So that's right. So, okay, nothing wrong there. And then e.encode. Ah, yes. Oh, bother. Okay, so here's our problem. We have two things called encode on this e. So I'm going to call this one, let's call it dict, because that's what it really is, encode. And then I need to go change that up here, because this is the alphabet or the dictionary. We've got too many things in this code base that are encode, encoding. Encode is a noun, encode is a verb. This is just bad. This is not encode, encodes. Source using the encoding inc returns the encoded bytes. This is not readable. Okay, so let's call this one dict. And let's see, is there anywhere else where we have a .encode? This is going to be rough. We're overloading the noun and verb and gerund and too many forms of the word encode where we need different words. We could call it encode map maybe. But yeah, let's call it dict and see what happens. Okay, DST. All right, let's look for DST here. Encode, DST. So encode, DST, DST. So DST here is an array, so push is a function. All right. So DST there. DST. Oh, whoops. This was left over from the Go code, because in Go, you do DST equals append DST and then thing that you want to do. So just to look at the Go code real quick, let's go back over here. First, let me close out some of these. We got too many things going on. I would like to know what that's about. Oh, this is just somebody wrapped this behavior in a module. Okay. Gonna get rid of that. We're gonna get out of these. All right, so let's look at the Base62 implementation. I just want to show you this is how Go does it, which is really, really smart for a compiled language. This is just really, really good. So destination is equal to append destination and then whatever you're appending. All right, so that's that. With that out of the way, then destination should be good. Yeah, you can kind of tell this came from a Java implementation. Okay, this is not good. This is just not good. All right. So, Inktable. I think Inktable is not getting set up. Inktable. Let's go ahead and console.log what Inktable looks like, because I'm thinking it's looking wrong. And then we could also console.log. And notice I use console.log different from console.info. I use console.log for things that should be removed in the review process or in the merge process or the commit process. I use console.info for things that intentionally I'm keeping around because they're part of messages that aren't just debugging. And on a good day, I remember to do this as well. So I say debug Inktable, for example. Let's do that here too. Debug cur.x. Cur.x. Let's just kind of see what this looks like. This also looks a little bit wrong. This is probably a do while loop before or something. I think what we actually want, well, I'm going to try to change as little as possible. Let's get to where we can build the test case, and then we'll get to optimizing. All right, let me check comments here again. How can you stand not using dark mode on your browser? So I would ask the reverse question, how can you stand using dark mode? It's so ugly. Okay, so Inktable looks good. What doesn't look good is cur.x. So GitHub just does not have... Here, I can bring this down a little bit though. Yeah, that's fine. So you got to understand too, I'm on a Mac. So we have things like brightness control that actually works. It's not just there's 3 modes of brightness and that's it. There's, 20 different modes of brightness. And I think if I hold down the Alt key, then I can break that down into quarters. So I can get really fine-grained brightness. So this doesn't bother me at all. And I find that GitHub's dark mode is just a really terrible theme. There are a couple of themes that I like, but GitHub's theme I find just terribly difficult to look at and read. Okay, so this cur.x is obviously wrong. So let me go look at the original code. And it returns, byte and bool? Because in Go you can have multiple returns. And in JavaScript you kind of sort of can also. But we're not going to worry about that right now. All right, so let's look, and then let's look at where next is used in the original code. Okay, has more. This loop just keeps going. See, I would actually move this down below. I would restructure this a little bit so that it reads a little better. I think all we need to do is bring this in. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's not worry about that right now. Just wanted to see generally, where is this used? Are there any other returns in here where I might be returning the wrong value? Okay, so B is wrong. And where is my math.bits being used? Where's bits being used here? Bits.len. That's in the decoder. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that until I get to the decoder. All right, so that's not part of the problem. Let's go back and look at this. Where do we have X? Cursor. Let's see, cursor. I wonder if it's being reset somehow, or what am I to understand about this? And what am I to understand about... Okay, let's... I'm actually going to side-by-side this a little bit. Inc.pose. All right, and so this is... E and Inc and encoder and encoding. It's just... I probably got something mixed up there. Let me see where else am I using Inc with a period. Yeah, well, so for God, I would suggest getting the monitor that I have and using a Mac. That's what I would suggest, because your eyes shouldn't bleed from looking at whites. If you're looking at whites as making your eyes bleed, then maybe your whites are a little too bright or something. Because I've got my monitors at about 50%. And I also do have lights pointed at my face, so they're a little bit higher than they need to be. If I didn't have lights pointed at my face, then I'd probably lower these down even more. But yeah, for me, I'm very color sensitive. And so if it's black on black, just if there's not contrast, this is good contrast. I can't stand bad contrast. But for my terminal, I find that most of the themes, the light themes, don't have good contrast, and so I tend not to use them. And I found several dark themes that have good contrast. So if you're interested in the themes I use, short break here, webinstall.dev, iTerm themes, iTerm2 themes, sorry. These are the themes that I use. I'll drop this in the chat. Boop. There we are. Okay, so now I am off of, let's close that out. And by the way, if anybody sees what's wrong, please feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Okay. So I'm looking, hold on, let me go back up to the top. Places where I use ink. There's ink. There's ink. And I think I should put this as an underscore next, because I don't actually intend for that. I guess most of this, I'll leave it alone for now. I don't have to go change anything. Ink source, ink pose. Wait, I'm overriding pose there with what? Oh, bless me. Let's see. This is kind of strange. If pose is greater than 0, pose plus equals 1. What? Compact mask equals compact mask? Oh, whoops. Okay. Here's a problem. All right, so we have some order of operations differences between JavaScript and Golang. So I'm going to have to check this line by line real quick. Well, I guess I'll just run it, because maybe that's the only order of operations difference. Nope, it's not. All right, so I have to go back line by line and check out order of operations differences to make sure that things are what they ought to be. So let's go to, I think the create encoding is fine, because we get the map out. Let's see, where do we, let me run that again. We got the map out here. This looks good to me. So that part I think is fine. What's not fine is once we get into our encode, let's see, create encoder, our encode.next definitely needs to be checked for order of operations. So let me go find my next function, and I just had that up, but you know, then I moved it and all that. So, all right, so let's take a look. Nothing problematic there. This looks good. This looks fine. All right, now this one, let's check this one. We got I plus 1 times 8 minus position. And you can see in Go, they have this way of using spaces a little bit to kind of try to tell you what position things are in. So that looks good. This is suspect. But no hope there. Okay, so here's another area where who knows what the order of operations is intended to be. And this is one of the things I actually don't like about Prettier, is when it gets rid of parentheses that you did have. So I am not sure what the order of operations is here. So we've got a problem. Let me see if I can logically think through what this might mean. So I think this makes sense. We're going to want to take the source byte and we're going to shift it down by some shift amount. But then we're losing data. But we'd lose data either way we look at it. And we want to AND that with 1 shifted over by b length minus 1. To me, this makes sense. I want to say the order of operations there looks correct to me. You installed my dark theme for fish on Linux subsystem for Windows. Oh, cool. Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that that's working for you. Yeah, I think Tomorrow Night, Dracula, and Havana Cruise, I want to say those are my go-tos. Let me just open up real quick and see what I've got in my profiles here. So let's go to, was it colors? We can see my default theme is actually meant to be ugly because that lets me know that something didn't match and it's wrong. Oh, it's not telling me which one it's on. Oh, that's so sad. It actually doesn't have anything selected here for me to know. Oh no, I think it's Dracula. No, it wasn't. Dracula, Earth Song, Elementary. Elementary is nice too. Space Gray 80s. Space Dust. I don't even remember putting those ones on. Tomorrow Night. Okay, Tomorrow Night is the one that it's been on. Yeah, okay, let me get out of there because I don't actually want to change anything. And then remote. That's kind of weird that for some reason it's lost what they've been set to. But remote, yeah, whatever. It's not showing the little checkbox by it. Okay. So let's see here. Can we tell what's going on here? Okay. blen1 or all of these things. This looks right to me. Yeah, that definitely. Anywhere we've got some equals, that's suspect. Greater than. I'm just going to put these in. I mean, I think this is the way that's going to evaluate. I think or evaluates last. Okay, yeah, it does. So that was the same. B and equals. I don't know if we have an and equals. So how about B equals B and? We might have an and equals, but I'm not sure that it means the same thing. Also, the JavaScript not operator is different. Also, JavaScript, I think we need to use the triple shift whenever we do write comparisons. Is it, or is it when we do, no. Is this where we need triple shift? I think in JavaScript you have to use triple shift. Otherwise, you can do shifting on negative numbers, which doesn't even make any sense. So let me just make sure. Okay, we're doing triple shifts there. That's good, I think. Okay. I might actually have to learn what all this means. So let's see. Next. Where is B declared here? So source. So I'm just going to console.log debug. So we should be able to see, okay, here's I, here's inc.source I, and then here's B. Let's just take a look at it like that. And if we're getting all zeros for B right there, then we know our problem is there. I think we're just going to have to do a little bit of binary search debugging where we look to see where does B change. Console. Well, I'm going to just do that one first. Okay, so undefined. All right, so that's good. We know something's probably wrong here because I don't think that we should be getting undefines on this every time. So I think that's a good thing. So source inc.source. Did I misunderstand something? All right. So again, whoa, that doesn't make sense. What? Okay. So integer division. We need to do integer division. Integer division is where we floor because we have integer division here, and then we have a remainder. So in Go, if it's an integer and you do division, it's automatically integer division. It doesn't escalate to float division. But in JavaScript, there's no way to distinguish between an integer and a float. Well, there kind of is, but yeah, internal stuff that you can't tell from the external way the language works. But everything's automatically escalated when you divide to float division. And so we need this to maintain integer division. That's part of the problem there. But this is one of the weird things, the triple right shift operator, because numbers can be negative and triple right shift ensures that they stay positive, which I guess this shouldn't matter because this is going to be a byte, so it shouldn't be possible to be negative. But it also keeps overflowing from happening. So I don't know what the behavior is defined in Golang if you overflow an integer. So if it's a small integer, say the integer is a 1 byte integer, and you overflow 255 to 256, I don't know if it goes back to 1 or if it would go, I'm not sure how that actually works out. Okay, but so the triple shift should not be necessary. I'm just putting it in there as a safety precaution for right now, just because I'm trying to figure some stuff out. Okay, cool. Now this looks a lot better. Let's see if we see, what do we see here? All right, so that doesn't quite make sense. I guess it does make sense because we're counting down from the most significant to the least significant, and we're filling in from end to beginning. So as we're pushing, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we should be thinking about this. All right, but in any case, at the end, when we return on this, I'm pretty sure that what we expect to get for DST would actually be .join. Expect to get a string. Okay. So here's our Base62. Now, something that seems weird to me is how often we have things repeating, like this W. So, what could I do to validate some information here? Let's try this. So let's do. We're gonna have a function encode. We're gonna wrap this whole thing, and then we're gonna have console.info. I'm gonna call it big encode. All right. And it's going to take in a buffer. And we're going to do, I guess it'll return B62. So I'm going to clean this up in just a second here. Sorry for the mess. And let's make this wider again so we can kind of have a better look at it. So we're going to let buff equals this. Actually, I don't even know we need any of that. Let's just take it straight into big encode. And let's take a look at this. So let's say we're going to do, what would be relatively, all right, let's do new uint8 array. And we're just going to put in 0, 0, 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's do, I guess this is 255. I don't know why I'm doing hexadecimal here. I guess just it makes sense. All right, let's see what that becomes. Okay, cool beans. And then we're going to do another one where, and I'm going to get rid of those console.logs real quick. Let's get rid of that debug. Let's get rid of that debug. Inktable, we don't need to worry about. Let's get rid of that debug. Do we have any console.logs floating around in here? No? Okay, good. So basically what I'm trying to figure out is which way is it doing the encoding? Because I may have picked a bad algorithm, and that'll suck for me if I did. Okay, that is not helpful at all. I'm doing something wrong here. What am I doing wrong? Okay, that makes more sense. So let's take a look at this. So we've got zeros and then stuff. Let me actually move that out of here, make that a little more readable. And then we've got stuff and then zeros. Okay, that's just a little bit too much. Okay, I guess I don't need the buff there. And why doesn't it, big encode function declaration should not be yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine. Fine. Well, for the sake of this being happy, we'll move this out. All right. And then it's upset about the char set again. Of course. All right. So what we should see, I'm expecting to see a string that starts with zeros, and then a string that ends with zeros. And then I guess we've got a bunch of similar letters here. So we have LL, O, O, L. So I'm not super shocked, whoops, that we're seeing some repeating patterns. But this I don't like at all. This is bad news to me. Push is append. All right, now I have to think about this. So this implementation seems to be reversey from what I want. How do I fix that problem? I could just pick a different implementation because I don't know if this is the one that I want. Let me go take a look at another implementation real quick. Well, first, let me run this implementation and just see if I implemented it correctly. That's the first thing, right? I said we need a test. So this probably has some tests. Let's see, does it have a test? Base62 test. Hello. Oh, this does not actually give us any examples of, so this gives us input bytes, but this does not actually give us output bytes. So that kind of stings. But I'm gonna clone this. So we're gonna clone this Go code here, and we're gonna give it a run. I think I may have picked a poor implementation, but we'll see. Or maybe not a poor, but one that is less ideal. All right, let's go Base62, and I'm going to make sure that I have Go installed here. Do we have Go version 1.17? That's probably pretty recent. All right. Test zeros. So I am going to comment out all of this code. There is a way to run Go test with specific functions in mind, but I'm just not doing it right now. Okay. What I want to be able to see is, let's take a bunch of these. So I want to say for, this is called a table test in Go, by the way. So we're going to take, let me see, let me just undo this all the way. Huh, is that really an extra space at the end? Oh no, it's just a little hiccup from the editor, trying to figure out how to place things best. Okay, so for source in range, oh, not range, for source, there we go, like this. And then we're going to do like so, like that. Like this. Okay, cool. So this should pass. I should have run the test before, but so be it. I should probably also do Go. All right, good. So we're gonna print this out. what it's encoded to. So this should be font dot print line dist. This may not print out. I might have to do log. Maybe I have to do log. Log. Is that how we have to do it? All right. So let's print this out as a string, right? So encode. I wonder if I just cast this to a string, is it going to be all right? I think it is. Okay, cool. So now let's put in my JavaScript stuff here, and let's see if we get the same things. So let's do this one and this one and that one. Also, where does the test setup encoder? Huh. ABC? Default. Encode standard. Ah. Okay, so he's also not doing the Wikipedia encoding. So I think that this is probably not the Base62 encoding that I want. I think that we could work around that. But I think this is not the typical lexicographical Base62 implementation. I think I picked a bad one to start from. But that's okay. Maybe. So there's a number of things I'm going to have to change here. One is I might need to make an encoder. Oh, and we've got the encode to string down there already. Oops. Encode. So let's see what I need to do here. Encode. Func.star encode. So there's more to this package. I'm guessing this default, yeah, okay. Standard encoding.encode, got it. So I want new encoding, and I'm going to want to, so let's do this with the test. We're going to do new encoding, and then we're going to want to use, the encoding that I'm using in the JavaScript. Char set, let's bring that on over. Let's see. Encode. Yeah, normally I just call this ink. Is that going to work? Yeah, that's going to work. All right. So we're going to do ink.encode, ink.decode, ink.encode to string, ink.decode to string. Actually, we might need to implement decoders as well. Let me check that out real quick. Do we have decoder? Yeah, decoder is its own thing. So new, nope, encoding, still, okay, great, we're good. All right, and then I need to go back to my JavaScript, and let's just catch these three here. All right, and so we can have byte like this. probably the appropriate thing to do. And then I could just flippy do those like this. And that should be just as well. And then I can cast this like that. All right, so now I'm going to have some good reference material. Redundant type from array, slice, or map, composite, literal. Redundant type. Is it saying that I could just do this? Yeah, that's what it's saying. That's what it means by redundant type. Okay. Let's go test. All right, so we've got some really interesting information that's good information, which is that the JavaScript implementation is not working, because that's not what we get in JavaScript. Not even a little bit. I thought our JavaScript implementation was looking kind of weird. Anybody have any thoughts what we might have done wrong? First of all, let's just look at the number of characters here, because I'm thinking that it might be a very simple off by one error. So what do we got? Let me just print out the length of these as part of this. Len destination. All right, so 22, 12, 12, 24. So this should not be problematic. But let me just double check here. Zeros. We are encoding this in reverse. So I kind of, at this point, I think I might just want to jump ship. Because I'm not clear. Let me think about this. If that started with zeros, would that make sense? Yes. If that started with 7, I'm thinking if I just did a flippy do, is that is the only difference here whether we're adding to the end or adding to the beginning? Because if we could just iterate in the opposite direction, I don't know. Okay, I want to look at something different now. I want to look at a different implementation. Let's see. I don't like this one. See, they don't say what implementation they use. I wish they did. But it seems that, it seems that it should just be based on Base62, right? Now let me take a look at a different one. There's a couple of other implementations. I chose that one because it seemed to be based on something else that seemed to make a lot of sense. But attempt to go library, encoding perfect for URL safe values and URL shorteners. So I think I'm going to take that one out for a spin. 0 through 9, A through Z, A through Z. And this is what Wikipedia suggests, right? I mean, basically, I was looking at one, which the one I should have picked is I should have picked the one that said it was based on the Base64 implementation, because that would make a lot of sense. So let me actually just go look at the Go Base64 implementation, because it's probably going to look really similar to what we just looked at, but probably some pieces are in reverse. So let's do Golang Base64, because basically the bit mask is going to be different, and maybe something else. So let's go take a look at this, and I'm going to catch up on comments in just a second. now I think maybe this was the one, because this looks very similar. The methods are the same. So this looks very much like that person was trying to follow the standard library format, which is probably part of what gave me confidence in their implementation. When people are following the standard library, it generally makes me think that they're probably a little bit smarter. But let's follow this down the rabbit hole. Let me just look for decode quantum. Decode map. I want encode, not decode. Did I click on decode by mistake? New encoder. This is what we want to look at. Okay, right to this. This looks pretty similar on the face of it. All right, anyway, let me catch up on comments real quick. Hey man, I found a better doc browser and it's free. It's a Chrome extension. You should get it too. It's called DevDocs Web Extension. Must be Al. Now, must be Al. You've been on here before, right? So I have, check this out. Go. I just forget to use it all the time. But I'm pretty happy with this one. I just need to use it more. But you know, I can do Go or I can do RS for Rust. That was not the right one, but I guess it's just searching standard library. But DevDocs Web. Is that primarily for JavaScript or what languages, or is that just for anything? All right, let's see here. Oh, sweet. Little pro tip. Little something you learn about the Go compiler from their own source code. So that's neat. So that's their bit mask. They're shifting over certain numbers of bytes. Yeah. So convert. Yeah, I don't 100% understand that. Also, I'm just going to try the Base64 encoder real quick. With these, to make sure that my assumption is correct, that the Base64 encoder does encode in the direction that I'm expecting it to encode. So let's just throw that out there real quick too. So what is it? Encoding Base64. And we could do, I guess, Base64 dot standard encoder, sure, dot encode to string source. Is this how it works? Let me go back. Look over here. New encoding, type encoding, encode to string, raw standard encoding, raw URL encoding. There we go. Raw URL encoding dot encode to string. I think this was what will do the magic for us. All right. So, interesting. So Base64 actually does start with A, not 0. Okay, so I'm going to try this again then. I may be getting this wrong. Just my base assumptions. All right, so let me go check out Base64 on Wikipedia real quick. Base64. So A is 0 in Base64. Index 0. So I'm going to look up Base62 again because I think this is wrong information. Base62. Yeah. Yeah, this is wrong. This is actually wrong. So it is capital A through capital Z, lowercase a through lowercase z, and then 0 through 9. That, I'm pretty sure, is what we're targeting. So let's go back to this. Okay, and I think that that's the encoding that this guy had in there by default, right? What was it? It was called default.go. A through Z, caps, lower, A through Z, then 0 through 9. Okay, so now I want to go edit Wikipedia because that threw me off. All right, let's take a look at this again now. All right, are we getting anywhere close? So we're still seeing a flip-flop on this. So this is Base64, 0, 0, 0. So these were all the zeros, and then there's the Fs. And here, the zeros appear to be here. And that doesn't quite look right. That seems, shouldn't that be 9s? Okay, you know what I need to do? I need to go back here real quick and actually double check myself. 255, 255, 255, 255. All right. I mean, those should be exactly the same. I mean, I should even keep that in there because that should be the same. Let me bring that hello world up here. And I'm gonna do one more thing for myself, just for my own sanity. Let's put in here Base64, and let's put in here a Base62, and then let's put an extra print line just for funsies. Okay. Yeah, so this is flip-flopped, for sure. Because where we have zeros, we should have the same starting point. And I am a little bit confused. I'm just going to triple check here. Math.pow 2 to the 8th minus 1, 255. Okay. All right, and we're going to block Lanny Osmond, who's probably trying to send us some garbage site. So block user. And we're going to add to block list and restream. Okay, let's see here. DevDocs is amazing. Trust me, you can be on the same page and not have to open a new tab. I will consider it. I'll at least Google it. How about that? DevDocs.io. Did you share this with me before? Whoops. Okay, let's just check out, let's see, Base64. Okay. But if I install it as an extension, then it's going to do something different. Send me a screenshot if you don't mind. Oh, by the way, anybody that wants to join in on the Discord, let me give you the Discord link real quick. Let me make sure I'm in the right Discord. I'm in the right channel. Invite people. Copy link. Discord. Boom. Yeah, see, I don't really like installing extensions though. I'm very minimalist, sometimes to a fault. And so I kind of want to see what the extension is before I decide to install it, especially because when you install extensions like that, they have information from every single page that you visit. It makes me a little uncomfortable. They could basically nab your passwords. Okay, so that was wrong. Okay, so I want to... Let me think about this. I think this is the wrong Base62 implementation. I should have tested a few out before I jumped here. So I think it's just the way that it's doing it. I don't think it's as simple as you flip the characters. I could be wrong. Let me check on that assumption real quick before I go too far. Let's go back into here. Append. Inktable. Okay, let me see if I can just get it to Golang reverse slice. I think it's sort.reverse. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's try this out. Let's do sort.reverse destination. But I'm a little bit worried that this is not actually going to come out to be the same implementation. All right, so this should not be possible to have an error. Can I just recast it? What did I get wrong here? Oh, that's the person asking the question. Ah, okay, I see. Sure, let's just do it this way. Oddball solution. Will this work? I suppose it will. I would have thought that there would be a function for if it's already... Huh. I actually like this better. It's more readable. Anyway, let's just do a little reversey here. So func reverse, and we have we want to take in byte. So this is a slice s, and then let me go here. Whoops. Yeah, I think we could do this way. Yeah, let's just assign. I want this to be more readable. I think if we get rid of the ninja foo, it's actually going to be the same thing that other person was showing. Yeah, so this is the condition that happens every time after. So we're just going to be looking at j equals and then I equals. Yeah, so this is more readable. I'm going to go with that. And then, of course, we need to return s because we're cool like that. Oh, and this needs to have byte array that it returns. Okay. Now, why did the test fail? Oh, because the encode and the decode don't match. Duh. All right. Yeah, I'm abandoning this implementation. It doesn't do what I want. Let's see if I can find the one that is based off of the Base64 implementations. Base62 is... No, this is the one that I just copied from, right? Dang it. Oh, that's empty. That's me. Let me move that over here. Sorry, let me take a look at the questions again. It's open source. I posted a screenshot and a link on the GitHub. On the GitHub. Did you bring it into the Discord? Oh, okay. On the Discord. Are you're Bolt on Discord? Okay. Okay, cool. All right, thanks. I will seriously consider it. I'm not going to do it right now, but I will consider it. Although I will take a look at it afterwards. All right, so now I'm just not in a good place. Dang it. This one's dealing with numbers. Dang it, 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 dang it. Okay, let me take a look at this one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this one too. So this is what we're gonna do here. So I'm gonna take this one, .git config. This one's called JXSKiss. So I'm going to move this base62 to, whoa, that's not what I wanted. JXSKiss. Is that what I was doing there? JXSKiss. Yes, that's what I'm doing. All right, base62 like that, and then I'm going to clone this other one. Dagnabbit as this, but we're going to change that to a hyphen. Boom. And then we're going to copy some of the same tests from, what was it, the test file. Yeah, so I'm going to copy the same tests, and then I'm going to play with them here. Encoded value, and then I don't know, I'm just gonna get rid of all this for now. And I am also going to grab, I'm gonna do the same thing I did in this other one. I'm going to print it out both ways. We'll call this DST, and then I'm just going to have it yeah, this should work, yeah. Except, whoops, except we need to grab encoding base64. Okay, that's grabbed. And then we don't need URL val, we need source. There we'd be. Okay. Let's run go test here. Cannot find main module. Base62 star. Test Base62, yeah. Go mod init. Why isn't it complaining to me about GoPath? I shouldn't have to have any deal with GoPath. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. All right, let me... Dang it. What is this thing called? There we go. Go mod init. Go mod tidy. Okay, now go test. Huzzah! All right, this looks a lot more like what I would be expecting. This makes a lot more sense to me. Although I'm a little confused about the plus at the end here. That's not, these are not the same number of characters. But this at least looks right. Interesting. This doesn't look quite right. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. That's weird. So what he's specifying there is an alternate base64 encoding. Because if we go from here, let's say we go 1 over. So let's say we're in there. So if we go 62, we end up on 9. Yeah. If we go here and we do 62, we end up on, wait, if I start here and I move 62 characters forward, yeah, I end up on 8. So this is a base64 encoding that he's using. I'm just so confused. Oh, because it's a fork of somebody else's thing. I should go check out what it's a fork from. Index out of range. Okay, A, B, C, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, y'all. Something's messed up. Okay, so maybe there's not a Go implementation of Base62 that makes any sense either. This is so strange. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the one that I'm interested in. This is it. This is the one that okay, so here, yeah. This one is heavily based on base64.go and completely untested. I wonder if he literally means it's completely untested, as in he never ran it. All right, let's see. This test fails where? Base62 test line 17. Encode to string. All right, well, that's not very helpful. 96 and then 76. Let's check out 96. Oh, whoops, no. All right, 96, 76. Code 6-bit blocks using the Base62 alphabet. I have an idea as to what's going on here. Okay, so I think this is wrong. All right. Time to go look at a different language. Oh, I'm sorry. I always hate it when we start down a code path and think, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And then it turns out, let's see. So from some other people, crap. The problem is they're languages that I don't use. I checked out some other Base62 libraries. We got one from Crystal. What is this one from? Okay, I'm going to bring something onto the screen here. Just 1 second. Let's see what language is this in? PHP. Oh, shudder. But hey, this guy says that he implemented it from the GMP library. Oh man, I don't know if I want to go through this. Yeah, this is... I don't want to deal with this kind of code. All right, let me think about it this way. Let me try GMP Base62 Golang. Let's try this. Let's make sure we do Base62. Base62. Oh, look. Porting Base62. Well, y'all, I mean, this, unfortunately, I don't know if I should just stop the stream at this point because I don't know where to go here from here. I'm just, at first, I was thinking, okay, cool. I found an implementation in Go. Go people are generally smarter than the average bear. And then I end up with, well, wait, this is not, well, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Oh, wait. Here's code in Golang to explain the concept mentioned above. Ooh. Okay, this looks right. Okay, so the Base62 standard or Base62 standard may actually be this character set in this order because this is lexicographical sort order. So the GMP standard is like this, as we just briefly saw, or I don't know if I showed that to you or not. No, I didn't show you the comment. Sorry, I just brought it over, but the code over, but okay. Here's the algorithm from Base62. Oh, this looks really Go-ish. This might be right. Does this person have... Base62 represent hex encoded string. What? Encoding chunk size, decoding chunk size. What is this supposed to mean? GitHub link for the complete code. All right, let's check it out. 2 years ago. I might be able to put a star on this. Do we have encode string? This is all right. Decode string. This should be bytes, but whatever. So I think what happened with the other one. Okay, so let's go back here for a second. The one that we just tested that kind of sort of worked. When we do this, encoded. I think, first of all, I think this person may have just directly taken the code from the Base64, and literally when they said it's completely untested, I think they may have actually never run it. And so the person that forked it and changed it, I think they just changed it to use a different library than the Base64. I mean, a different character set. Because what should happen, yeah, see what we're seeing here is this 4x3 and 3x4. This lets me know this is the ratio for a Base64 encoding is it's 3/4 or 4/3 the size of the original, whereas Base62 encoding I think it was 9/5 or 5/9, or it was a different ratio. It's a different ratio. So I don't think this code is going to ever work here. And I think the reason that it's so similar is simply what the person chose to do. So if we just went like this, they just chose to use a period, essentially, is what happened. So if we do like that, okay, let's do like that. Let's run the test on this code again. And we're going to get the exact same values, I think, except he's using ++ as padding, I think. Whereas normally you would use equals. So this is not a Base62 implementation at all. This is actually literally a Base64 implementation that somebody changed a couple of the characters to. So this is not, this one, the Lytix, this is not Base62. And I think I'm even going to put this, like this is, yeah, right here. Oh, okay, base X. Ooh. Yes. Your library is encoding things backwards. Let me just put this here. Base64. Well, maybe it's encoding them backwards on... no. Meaning that it reverses the byte order of the input when producing the output. Oops, yes, thank you for correcting me on spelling there. So let me just put an example here. 0, 0, 0, 0, 255, 255, 255, 255 becomes, and let me go take a look at this one. Let me go back into there. What was it? JXSKIS. Yeah, go test. Oops. Let me get rid of my reversey. Reverse. All right, so let's clarify the alphabet, right? So what alphabet was I using for this test? Okay, so I want to say, so do becomes, let's put in text here, and let's say using the alphabet which this is gonna. And then if we flippy do that, to be the more standardish way. All right, so yeah. Using the base64 like alphabet and using the GMP like alphabet. Whoops. All right, and I'm not clear that simply reversing the string would be the correct implementation. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Base X. What is this written in? Okay, this is written in Go. We've got a base X implementation. It's written in Go. Okay, if this could just give us a starting point to know what a test set looks like, that would be a great place. Oh, please don't tell me that PHP is no longer awful. PHP is awful. You cannot fix PHP. You cannot add more buggy features to PHP and say it's less awful. If you want something to be less awful, you have to remove things from it, not add things to it. So PHP is still awful. No, and it's not, again, it's not object-oriented style. It's class-oriented style, which is not the same as, well, I mean, I guess, I'm splitting hairs because most people think of object-oriented meaning class-oriented, not being object-oriented. JavaScript's object-oriented. And people try to teach JavaScript class-oriented, and then they call it object-oriented, and that's, a whole mess, but... Okay, I need some beef nugget to power up here. Okay, so the core problem that I'm facing is I want to do, well, I don't know, it's probably just stupid on my part. Let's see. NPM, token, format, base62. This is what I should have done. This is what I should have done. NPM's new access token format. Where is this, the original article? Shared from the original post, the GitHub blog. Yeah. So this is just some content nabbing site that happened to rank high today. GitHub's new authentication tokens. NPM's new access tokens. So I'm going to guess, and I could be wrong, well, see, the question is it just server-side code, or is it actually in NPM? So if we went to NPM on GitHub, we've moved. NPM CLI. Let's see if there is anything in the package.json about bases. Nothing about base62 in here. Okay, what if we look for, let's see, dependencies. Where's dependencies? Dependencies. Bundle dependencies. Regular dependencies. Do we see anything that's just npm itself? Let me see. I'm assuming the blog for GitHub does not have comments. No, there's no place to do comments. I've tried tagging them. I don't know why I want to do their particular format. I guess I figure they got it right, and that moving forward, other implementations are going to be that way. Okay, feature request, RFCs, documentation, support. All right. These forms have been archived. The community has been discontinued. Oh, man. Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Oh. Mm. Anyway, to my earlier comment about PHP, I consider, one look at that PHP code versus the Go code we were working with, which was easier to read. Now, granted, the Go implementation wasn't necessarily correct, or at least it's kind of hard to find it correct in this scenario because we still don't have an input-output test. That's what that's what we need. We need to first define what correct is, but granted, the way the code is written is very simple, very easy to look at and understand. The way the PHP code is written is not easy to understand. It's kind of modeled after C++, which is also not easy to understand. Well, it's not that terrible sometimes, but yeah, generally it's bad. Okay. Categories. Do we have an NPM category? Updating, configuring NPM. Failed USB to detections, GitHub actions, Git project development. Or I don't know. Where does things go here? Code cloud, GitHub ecosystem. Is GitHub ecosystem the right place? GitHub client apps, software development. Let's see. Let's go back. Let me go back to this. These forms have been archived. Just usage of NPM. But where do I go? NPM. It doesn't. Grr. All right. I'm thinking maybe it's GitHub ecosystem. And then maybe here I can I search? Is there a search? Okay, there is a search. It's over here. Oh, good. The search doesn't work. That's great. Oh, now it does. Interesting. Okay. What implementation is used for the new Base62 token format for NPM and GitHub? All right. I'm really curious, since there are multiple pseudo standards for Base62 and even more completely incorrect implementations. I'm really curious as to which is being used for which is being used, and where those libraries are. In reference to, I'm assuming there's some package as part of an npm dependency. You know what I should do? I've got another idea. I'm actually going to npm install npm, and we're going to look at it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm assuming there's some sort of package, Base62 package as part of an npm CLI dependency, but I didn't see it in the package.json. And let's see, what's the other one here? GitHub blog, npm new access token format, GitHub's new access token format. So I'm inadvertently becoming the world's foremost expert on Base62. Well, not inadvertently. I intended to do it. I just didn't intend to have so much trouble doing it. I want to put up a web page where you can encode and decode things in Base62. Have a prefix or whatever. I'm going to say modified Base64, GMP, glowfall. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Save edit. Good. Maybe I get lucky and somebody responds to that. I'm not gonna bank on it. Anybody else got some hints here? Okay, so what if I go into npm CLI? Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to clone npm CLI real quick. Git clone. Holy moly, this is huge. Okay, let's not do that, actually. Let's see. Can we... Oh, where did that go? We're going to do git clone depth equals 1. There we go. Yeah, because I really don't care about the whole history. I guess latest is fine. And then let's do npm install. Probably going to install half the universe. All right, and then we do rg-uuu, which is going to unignore everything. And then we're going to look for -i Base62. Let's see what comes up. Well, I am interested to know about this. Base62. Huh, interesting. That's really the only reference to Base62 in the entire code base. Now I'm curious, what does can I use light do? I've got to find some implementation here. And maybe, I mean, this is going to be an absolute crap show, but what if we do, we could try B62. Yeah, this is just going to come up with too much garbage. I don't know how to ignore that. Maybe I could, yeah, there's just too, that's too short. There's too many things that's going to look like. All right, and then what if we just do Base62 all the way, or just 62? Icon of light encoding tables. Shift JIS. What is this? All right, let's try this one more time. Is this okay? This has just got a lot of stuff over and over and over again. A lot of hashes have 62 in them, of course. Let's see some data. Emoji regex has a bunch of 62s in it. That's not surprising. Then what else have we got 62s for? This icon of light looks like a possible candidate. Probably not actually. Okay, I don't know. Oh. Yeah, I might just have to call it quits, get some sleep, think about it again later on. This is a bigger undertaking than I thought it would be. I thought, okay, I'm going to get this Go version working, and then everything's going to be hunky-dory. Oh, but wait, hold on. Oh, I still have this Go version that claims to be correct. It just doesn't have any documentation except for that blog post. Okay, all right. So we're going to try one more thing before I throw in the towel. All right. CLI npm CLI. There we go. Git clone go base64, and then this is going to have to be. Can we run go test here? We cannot. I guess let's try this. Whoops. That was not what I wanted to do. Let's try this again. Go mod tidy. Go test. Do the test pass? One thing that's nice about Go is it's really easy to write tests because there's a good unit test package as part of the standard library. That's just nice and easy. Okay, so the tests pass. Oh, good. And this person appears to be a fairly all right Go developer. I mean, they set up the test exactly the way that I was wanting to set up the test. They have a nice table test here. So this makes them look at least like they have a little bit more experience. All right, so let's bust out our previous tests again with the was it Base62 test here. Let me bring this on over. So I'm just going to tell the truth. Well, no. People bring in too many dependencies. I guess that's truth. Little spelling mistake there, no big deal. Hyphenated number string. Let's see. Let's just get rid of all these and start over with what I need. So this string right here, that's in the Go documentation. I think this is Hello World. That seems to be, this is not simplified Chinese. I think this is traditional Chinese. No. No, it's not. This is something different. I don't know what that is. If anybody knows what those characters are, what they mean, I mean, I guess I could Google them real quick. But it's definitely not simplified Chinese. At least not for world. And it doesn't look like simplified Chinese. It's got too much detail. It looks like it could be Korean. I don't really know what Japanese looks like. No, I kind of do. But that doesn't look Japanese to me. It looks like it could be non-simplified Chinese. Let's do it. Let's take a look. Translate. Definitely not English. Really? What language is this? Chinese. Okay, that's weird. I could have sworn. Can I choose simplified Chinese? Simplified. No way. Huh. I thought I knew those characters, but I guess I don't. The proof is in the pudding. All right, and this is not going to work the way that I want it because this only operates on strings. Oh, darn it. Okay, let me take a look here. Base62.go encode. All right, let's say that in bytes yeah, so point against from the perspective that this person did not follow the same convention as the standard library. However, not necessarily needed, as I myself mentioned before. No, I think it should follow standard library if it's Go code. Yeah, I figured the Can I Use Lite was a small package of caniuse.com, but I was thinking, was there any other reference to it in terms of the Base62 conversion? I'm guessing it's a Base62 conversion of references or something. Okay, so let's change this to do bytes, decoding chunk size. This doesn't seem right. Why is there a decoding chunk size? Decoding. I'm afraid that this is not going to be valid, but we'll find out. Because it shouldn't be 3. Encoding chunk size. Okay, number of bytes required in Base62 to represent hex-encoded string value of length. But why is it hex-encoded string value? That's where I'm getting a little confused. You know, I'm going to Google something else real quick. GMP Base62. Yeah. All right. Okay, we're padding with chunk size. And then we're writing the string. But we're padding every single time? hex encode to string. Well, that doesn't quite make sense to me. Maybe I should read the blog post on this. First, I'm just going to check the input-output. Okay, so what was I trying to do? I'm just trying to turn this to use bytes. I'm okay that we get a string back, but let's change it. Yeah, we're just going to change it to use bytes here so that I can pass in the other things I need. So this is easy enough. By the way, thanks for the comments. I appreciate it. It's nice to have the conversation. Thanks for helping me out. I'm telling you, when you encounter problems like this, I think it's actually worth staying up late and doing a little bit of weekend time to fix it or to figure it out. Because if you do, when you do, you're going to be the only person in the world that's got to figure it out. If you document it well and put up a little web page that gives a demo of how to do it, you know, especially if it's JavaScript, then you are immediately the world's foremost expert in that thing. And then whatever you say goes. If it works, it works. All right. So what is this complaining about? Source should be byte. There we go. Cool beans. Code simple bytes. 1, 2, 1. And we'll have an encode simple bytes 2, and then I think we're done with this and we can run and we can see what the test looks like. So let's get some simple bytes here. But I'm a little worried. Interesting. Interesting that it wants a type on this. But it didn't want the type in another place. All right, so again, get rid of all the tests except for this encode. All right, we're going to decode a string, and we're going to get an original. We're going to assert that the original is the same. And then we're going to do the same old with printing out the Base64 stuff here. All right, Base64, encode to string. I'm going to do src equals like that. All right, and then we're going to say dst is equal to what we encode here. All right, well, let's see what we get. Go test. All right, what's wrong? Encode decode. Let's change that to encode decode. All right, why is this failing? Well, first let's see what worked. How similar or dissimilar is what worked to what we had before? Yeah, that doesn't look quite right to me. But I guess I don't know what does look right. That's the problem. I need a working implementation as a reference. And I have it not. But this, this looks kind of right. But the repeating H31 doesn't look right to me. Because I would expect it to be... Well, I don't know. I don't know because Base62 is an odd thing. So if you had... But let's see, these just seem too in the middle of the alphabet. I would expect something more towards the end. But it does seem to, it's the right number of characters at least. I don't know. We got some place to start from. But then what do we got? So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure that's all I had. So what is it complaining about? 1, 2, 3, 4. Runs the test and then it's done, right? So what else is wrong here? Are there other test files? Star test star. Oh, we've got 2 test files. All right. Okay, so good news is this looks kind of right. So what I need to compare it to then, 2 things. One, let's see what does the dictionary look like on this one? All right, let's look for ABC in here. Okay, so the dictionary looks about right for the GMP encoding. So can we compare this to the GMP encoding? Let's look at the blog article. All right, I'm going to plop this down here. This is Base62 in Go that works. Let me read his article a little bit. An idea to encode text to any base. Sure. A string containing UTF-8 characters. We want to convert that string having characters from character set of size 62. Y62, also known as alphanumeric text. So string up, why would anyone do that? String of special characters just for the fun of it. Honestly, does not have much practical use. But the AI discussed here can be used to convert to any base. So where do we start? Concept be in base 10. Number of counters represented base 10. 1 and 0, binary, base 16, hexadecimal, okay, on board. So number can be represented any base you like, including base 62. The other strange fact is that the process of converting a number in decimal to any other base is the same. Okay, cool. So it's going to be slower if it's not optimized. If we go to a generic one, this is okay. Keep dividing the decimal by the base until it is greater than 0. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Keep dividing the decimal number by the base until it is greater than 0. I think it means while it is greater than 0. All the remainders put together in the respective order of occurrence is representation of that base. Okay, so to base 62. Is it really that simple? I mean, I guess it could be. To base 62. Take a number. Oh, okay. All right. What if we figure out how to convert any string to a decimal number? Then we can use the above idea to convert that decimal number to base 62. Might sound weird converting a string to a decimal number, but actually it's very straightforward because of the way strings are handled by a computer. Yeah, sure. Sequence of bytes. So our algorithm would be first represent byte and strings, encode, but I don't understand why encode in hex. That's the part that I don't get. Convert the hex encoded value into decimal. This also seems rather strange. This seems more steps than... Oh, maybe it's just for the sake of... Nope, I don't know why this would be. I don't know why I would want it in hex. I don't get that part. But maybe I'll get it. Convert the decimal number base62. Let's try simple. Okay. Byte converted to its corresponding. Each hex value is then concatenated to form a single hex string. Then this is converted to base62. Why hex encoding theoretically could be any encoding. I chose hex. Slips for hex encoding and decoding easily available in most languages. It's very easy to convert from hex to decimal. Okay. But why wouldn't we just go straight if it can be any encoding? Why not just go straight from bytes to base62? That's where I'm confused. The decimal number generated in step 3 is very large. For long strings, it might not fit into a 64-bit int. To take care of this, you can encode in characters at a time. Concatenate all encodings to form the final result. See, this is where I'm not sure, because I think you end up with some padding that doesn't quite make sense, which is where I think that the previous implementation... We ended up with the same number of characters. Convert the base62 to decimal, calculate the hex equivalent, decode the hex bytes. But again, this just seems off. Get the original string from the bytes. Okay. While encoding in characters at a time to avoid overflow, what happens while decoding? Select N2, you'll encode in 2 bytes each iteration as per algorithm. So maximum value. So we decoding should select 3 characters at a time. So while decoding, but do we have, then we can add with 0, then every iteration, base62, strength has like a 3 summarize. Yeah. It's something just seems off about this to me, and I don't know why we're getting this. It's especially after the test completes. I don't get why. Oh, I think I do get why. I think. Okay. So this will handle strings, but it's not going to handle arbitrary data. I think this is wrong. All right, I'm going to go look at C code. Probably should have done this first. Log 262. Great. Print chars, encode. Base GMP, what is this? Base X GMP. Let me see if I can understand what this is about. Salt stack armor. GMP. GMP. Big num library. This is implementation of Base62 encoding in C using the GMP Big Num library. Turns out GMP's default alphabet is the same as saltpack, so all this code does is loop over its input and call library functions. The result turned out to be about as fast as GNUPG, which is good enough for us. Okay. Yeah, I think we have a problem here. I think Base62 is just too loose of a standard, but let's see. Okay, float log 262 seal F. Oh. All right, right, while true, read buffer from standard in. Oh, that's interesting. fread, where's fread coming from? Standard IO? All right, is base62 char. That's beautiful. C way of doing things. But actually nice. Max bytes for chars. Floor f num chars times log 2 of 62 over 8. So where'd log 62, where'd this come from? Is it in math.h maybe? Is that just being... Oh, initialize. Okay. So log 2 float of 62. All right. Got it. We could probably, couldn't we initialize some of this other stuff as well? Max size bytes for chars. Num chars times this divided by 8. Okay. Makes sense. All right. Decode or encode. And this looks pretty simple. All right, let's try porting this over to JavaScript. You know, maybe going to take half an hour to do this, and then I'm just going to call it night, and rethink my life in the morning. Okay. Base62 gmp.js. Now, I saw somewhere. Sorry, I need to go find a different comment real quick. So I need to make note of this, where this came from. I'm just going to put this. We'll call this .txt there for now. Let me close out some of these tabs. I got too many things open. And I need to go back a couple. All right, let me bring this over here. So here's an important piece of information. If I can get this to fit on the screen. By default, this library uses blah 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 as character set. It is the same as the GNU. I personally like this character set since it preserves the sort order of the encoded values. Okay, so where? Let's see if it says anything about base62 here, because I would like to know. GMP lib base62 can we find that this is probably not going to be on source code or in source code. Sorry, not source code. This is probably not going to be on GitHub. This is probably going to be on SourceForge or one of those old sites, or just some random dude's SVN. Oh, really? Interesting. Huh. Keybase, Saltpak. Oh, this is really good. Okay. This could be our big break. If not, I'll use the C code. But this could be our big break. So GitHub, Keybase, Saltpak. GitHub, Keybase, Saltpak. This is gonna be it. Base62. Okay. So all right, I'm gonna clone Saltpak here. This was mentioned earlier. I should have looked into it more. The link was a 404, so I thought, oh, it must be some library that's just not relevant anymore. But no, those people are smart over at Keybase. I can trust them. That'd be a real, actual, good implementation. Oh, yes. This is it. This is the one to look at. Oh, indeed. This is based on the PGP stuff, which is probably based on the GMP stuff. Interesting. Okay. All right. I think we've hit the gold mine. I think this is the right stuff. I'm feeling really good about this. Okay, good. Base58, cool beans. Base62. Oh, interesting. Okay, this may end up being a little less desirable. Does this require... Oh, okay. Got it. So I understand a little bit of this. I'm a little bit confused about this block size. Is it saying that it's required that it has a padding, a minimum size of 32 bytes? Because that would kind of stink. That's not what I want. Man, why didn't the GitHub people just link to whatever implementation they use? Can somebody tell me that, please? Okay, but this is definitely really, really close. If this is not dead on, if this is not the thing I'm looking for, this is redonkulous close. Okay, bases, basex test, armor 62. Might this be the thing? Whoa. What happened? Oh, I didn't want rvim. I just wanted vim. Okay. Armor 62 params. Header check. Frame check. Reader. Header check. Oh, okay. Let's look for this one. Okay, this is getting a little bit... Oh, this is PGP implementation stuff. This has got a lot more than what I was bargaining for in it. Okay, basex new decoder. And then what does FDs mean? All right, new punctuated reader. Okay, punctuation, got it. New decoder. Params encoding. All right, let me go check that out. Params encoding. Armor params. Let me look at that real quick. Armor params. Including strictness parameters. Okay, basex encoding. Dang it. Let's see, encoding.go maybe? Oh, what does this say? Oh, darn it. So I think this is telling me, I could be wrong, but I think it's telling me that we don't get arbitrary sizes, that it has to be a certain block. Could be wrong. I wonder if I could make a test for this. Maybe there's a test already in here. All right, Base62 test. Let's see. Base62. Got Base62. 16 megabytes of random data. Nope, I don't want that. Encode to string. Set bytes, reset timer. Uh-oh. That doesn't look quite right. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to try what should I try? Maybe I just get rid of the test files here, except for the base.x one. I forget how to run with this test with a specific prefix. But maybe I could try this. Let me just go in here. No, let me just do. We got main. Where am I right here? Do we have a command directory? CMD? No. Okay. Let me make a CMD and let me create a aj.go, and let's try to get a Base62 standard encoding imported. Uh-oh. OBS is using 83 gigabytes of RAM, so I'm going to have to stop OBS and maybe restart it. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, we're just gonna quit OBS and open it back up again. And I actually am going to check something before I do this. What happens if I just stop advanced scene switcher? Does that do anything for us? Because I think advanced scene switcher might be what's chewing up all the RAM. Not really sure. Oh well, anyway, I have to quit OBS because I'm out of RAM. So I'll be back on in just a second. If you're on Twitch, you can stay on, and I'll be back momentarily.